Totally Nonsense on Nonsense News Nation. Totally.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the podcast we like to call Totally Nonsense. My name is Brandon Scott Ellis, and
I am Scott Jared Honickman.
Wow, any more names you'd like to add, Scott?
I don't know my Jewish name like you do, unfortunately.
Shmuel Melach, by the way, in case anyone was curious. And we got some stories, a few news stories, but for the main topic, with the coronavirus plaguing the world, we're also going to talk about different delays and cancellations that has happened for film, television, events, and possibly video games, because we're gamers, and we're proud.
We're epic gamers.
The most epic you can really get, Scott. So, Scott, how about we talk about movies and the cancellations and delays that are happening? Is that okay with you, Scott?
Okay, I think I am super excited. Well, unfortunately, I'm not happy that they're delayed, but I'm excited to talk about them. So let's get right into it.
Well, it may seem horrible that things are getting delayed, but on a positive note, at least Fast and Furious 9 isn't going to start the new decade. It's being delayed a whole year. I believe it's supposed to come out this March. Am I correct?
I don't know. I've seen Fast 5, and that's
Fast
it.
5. That's a random number to jump in.
I know.
So, Vin Diesel and the family, they can't really be together. All I know is they drive cars in the air, CG cars, and Vin Diesel is with his other bald, muscular friends. And their family,
Jason
they're not
Statham.
friends. They love each other. They kiss each other on the lips, and they drive cars. That's all I know from Fast and Furious.
So there's incest?
And
There's incest in Fast and Furious if they're kissing?
well, the thing is, Vin Diesel says that they're family, and he doesn't have friends, he has family. So if he's, like, in a relationship, one would say that maybe that is family. And although it's not incest in the context of Vin Diesel's sick car-driving mind, he is committing incest. Again, I don't know. I don't watch the movies. Frankly, I'm not going to find out because it's being delayed a whole year. We've had so many Fast and Furious movies. Fast and Furious 9, there may be more movies than Star Trek at this point. I think it's crazy.
Well, Brandon, I think now is the time Fast and Furious is going to put the foot on the brake a little bit and slow down a little bit and not release the movie, every year. So they're going to have to slow down a little bit, not go so super fast, and it might make them a little furious that they got to slow down, but they'll get back to it
Come on,
next
this
year.
is the 9th time you've been Fast and Furious. Give it a rest.
Put your foot on the brake.
Just, I don't know, meditate, go to your happy place. Just stop racing and screaming that you're family. We get it. Stop.
Spend some time with your family, Vin Diesel. You don't want to risk your life every day and drive 100 miles an hour.
They're not your real family. I would love The Rock to be my crazy uncle, but he's not.
Can you imagine if The Rock was your uncle and he performed wrestling moves on
Brandon.
you? He's lifting you up.
Welcome
with
to
one
Jumanji. All right.
He's spinning you around on his finger like a basketball.
Oh, Uncle Rock.
Hey there, Brandon.
We're family. I know. Stop. So, speaking of stopping, Disney is stopping production, or not production, releasing a lot of their very popular upcoming movies. I know they've been remaking and rebooting constant classic properties and butchering them with the Lion King and Beauty and the Bestiality and all those movies, and Mulan is another victim of this tragedy. And I do say it's a tragedy because I don't know how the movie would turn out, but it looked different. It didn't look like a carbon copy of the original film. Like maybe they're putting another separate spin onto it. And now it's being, as far as I know, delayed indefinitely. I'm not sure about the exact date for that one.
Well, I know, like the original Mulan was so good that I personally didn't even really want them to make a live action one after seeing what they did with Lion King. I can wait. I can definitely wait
But
myself.
something you may not be able to wait for is a film you've been waiting for years and years, maybe since 2017. The film New Mutants is an X-Men film. Yes, the series, for some reason, you thought it ended with Dark Phoenix. It's still going. It's been delayed for so many years. It got pushed back another year, then later in the month, then another year, and so on and so forth. And with the when Disney bought Fox, it seemed like that movie was dead, but they actually planned to put it out this April. And here we are again with the coronavirus, and this cursed movie keeps on cursing, and it's delayed.
Well, what is New Mutant supposed to be about? Is it just another like young X-Men?
Mutants that are new. It's not going to be Xavier and Magneto playing chess for the 5th time with Wolverine saying one F-bomb per movie.
Heck.
Frick. I said it, guys. Bub.
What's that one girl's name that he's always trying to save?
Jean
Jane?
Grey.
Jade? Jean,
Grey.
yeah.
And they had Arya from Game of Thrones in it. They have
In which one? New
they have
Mutants?
Jonathan from Stranger Things. So they have a good cast, but we may not be able to see them. Who knows? And
We'll probably be 80. We'll probably be as old as Magneto by the time this comes out.
right.
And Professor X, Ian McKay, and whatever. It's called.
Ian McKellen. Yeah. We know him from Cats. All right, so we got another movie. If you're into comic books and New Mutants, you may just have known about a little movie called Black Widow. Not.
Is this a Black Panther sequel?
You would think. It's in the same universe, Scott. It's about Natasha Romanoff, a character that's been in the Marvel Universe in multiple movies since 2010 in Iron Man 2. And it's 2020. It's been 10 years, and it's about time she got her movie. Fans are excited. It's a prequel before Infinity War, after Civil War, I believe. And it's getting delayed. Actually, they just announced in November, taking the Eternal spot, and all the movies are being pushed back. We haven't had, every year, there's been at least 2 or 3 Marvel movies. The last time there was only one was in 2012 with Avengers. So Black Widow is, you know what, maybe we need the breather after Endgame, so maybe this is a good thing, and we could really look forward to Black Widow. Otherwise, I want my Marvel fix.
I can't wait for Black Widow. Scarlett Johansson is such a great
She's so talented.
actress.
She is incredible. And the character is so compelling, especially in Endgame. So I'd love to see more of her.
So I have a couple. I've looked up a couple of things that I was looking forward to that are now getting delayed here.
Okay.
So one of those things is also a movie. It's the SpongeBob movie that was supposed to come out in May 22nd, called Sponge on the Run by Paramount Studios, and now it's being delayed 2 months to July 31st. So we saw on this channel, I'm pretty sure we spoke about the trailer
Yeah, we did,
when
we
it
did.
came out, and I really liked how it looked. I really did. A lot of people were like, "This isn't traditional 2D animation. I don't like this." Blah blah. But look, the second SpongeBob movie I liked a lot. So the third one, I'm probably gonna still like.
I only like the first one.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't like the second movie. I loved the second movie. The first one was definitely better. Obviously, the first SpongeBob movie is a classic, and it's one of my favorite movies of all time. But the second one was still very good.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to realize that Scott is not like most people. Take his opinions with a grain of salt. He finds Lord of the Rings boring. He
I don't think it's that boring.
you haven't finished it. And he'd much rather watch the Fat Albert movie than Lord of the Rings. So take his opinion with a grain of salt, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, the Fat Albert movie review is coming,
It's
and you'll
going to
know
be the
everything I
best
gotta
review
say
of all
about
time.
it. Trust me. It's not the Fat Albert movie is not a good movie at all. I will admit that, but it's very, very fun to watch. So that's like I said, the Sponge on the Run movie is getting delayed. A bunch of Paramount movies are also getting delayed, like A Quiet Place Part 2 coming out in September. And also there's a Top Gun movie that got delayed to around Christmas time now. So the whole Paramount studio is really just,
Oh
you know,
no,
afraid of
Scott! Tom
afraid of
Cruise
this.
can't jump out of a plane and risk his life. He has to wait to do that. That's terrible.
He already did it a
Oh,
bunch of times.
the
He
last
can
Mission
wait.
Impossible
He
was
can wait
great. He
again.
could take a break after that. He could take a bow. That movie was fantastic.
I've wanted to see that movie. I should totally
It's
watch
one
that
of the
movie.
best action
I've
movies
heard
I've seen.
amazing things.
But that's besides the point. Another thing that got canceled, which is probably one of the worst things, is Scott. I don't know if you know this show. It's actually a very underrated radio show. It's on Long Island on this little station called WGBB. It's called Nonsense News Nation, and these two lovely hosts with very sexy voices, they haven't been able to go into the radio studio, and they have to record a podcast instead. So that's honestly one of the greatest tragedies of this epidemic.
Well, at least I heard through the grapevine that those two radio hosts are saving a good amount of money by moving their show to YouTube. So
That's also
good
good.
news
And
for
I also
them.
heard that they're preparing mentally and even physically for a Fat Albert review.
These two Long Island boys sure do have a lot on their plate right now. I'll be looking forward to their Fat Albert review as I do love that movie.
So not only are movies and radio, all that canceled and stuff, we also have certain delays with shows. Shows that are on currently can't finish and make it to their last episodes because they don't have people working and able to do the post-production of the shows. So a show like Superstore, which I'm a fan of, a comedy series on, I believe it's CBS or NBC or one of those, they have to, I don't know if they're going to release their next episode next year, their last episode next year or what, but they can't finish it. And it's a two-parter, the finale, I believe. It's called Superstore. It's a really funny show. It's kind of like The Office, but in a Walmart kind of setting. Another show that I'm a big fan of, and Scott was a fan of for a time, The Walking Dead. This last season, I know no one watches it but me, but it's actually really, really good. And unfortunately, they can't finish post-production for their final episode. So they said that they'd release it later on in the year. And it's just a shame because the series actually, they just announced a new character for the show, and it looks like the show is having a lot of new life breathed into it. And now we got to wait to see what's next. So that's...
And now also with The Walking Dead, they're going to have to delay the Rick movie even more.
The Rick Grimes
and it's
movie
already delayed.
Been secretly in talks for like at least a year and a half now, maybe, is going to be inevitably delayed again. So that also sucks. And I think they have another Walking Dead spin-off show that's getting delayed too. So the only Walking Dead you'll see are people on the streets in real life now. You can't actually watch the show.
Well, not much we can do.
No,
right?
but I could tell you a news story if that will cheer you up.
Before you tell your news story, let's talk about one more thing that is getting
Sure,
delayed.
all right. I won't...
Obviously, we talked about TV shows, talked about some movies. There's also, in the realm of video games, things are getting delayed,
Gasp.
too. So, every 2 weeks in Japan, Brandon, there is a magazine that's published called Famitsu. And Masahiro Sakurai, who is the developer and director of Super Smash
Legend.
Brothers, we've talked about him a couple of times. He, in this publication, he talks about Super Smash Bros. He writes a column every 2 weeks. And he said in his latest column that it's very likely that the DLC planned for Smash Brothers is going to be delayed. Because, one, obviously you need a lot of people in the same room to produce a game. And 2, he was also supposed to go to another location, fly somewhere to meet with people of a different gaming company to talk about the next fighter. And he can't do that, obviously, because the airports and flights are being shut down all over the world. So, in short, Smash Bros. DLC is going to be delayed.
Guys, if you're
further
salty about
notice.
this, I understand. I'm a fan of Smash myself. But here's the thing. We have about 70-something characters, I think, at this point. Am I right? You're going to be
Can you say that one more
I feel
time?
like there's like 70-something characters in Smash right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. There's 75, I think.
You can wait.
There's
you
a
can
lot.
wait. If you really want to wait to have Blue's Clues and Smash, you can have Smash on your Switch handheld and put on Blue's Clues on the TV in the background and just close your eyes and imagine that you're beating up Blue's Clues with Mario. So anyway,
Good meme.
I want to transition and talk a little bit about what we're about, Nonsense News Nation, nonsensical news stories. So let's see what's going on in the outside world, outside of entertainment. I got a good one, Scott. This is a high-speed chase, a car chase in Washington State. So let's start off here. There was reports of a driver hitting 2 vehicles and driving away. That's a no-no. We know that, right?
I've done that a couple times, but no one's ever caught me.
Well, in New York, I guess they're a lot more lenient maybe, but in Washington State, it's kind of illegal. So anywho, there were numerous calls made that the car was going over, get this, 100 miles per hour.
So it's kind of like Fast and Furious.
It's Vin Diesel. You can't
Vin Diesel.
stop this movie. We're family.
Vin Diesel had his own camera, and he was recording for Fast 9.
He was recording for Fast
He
and
was trying
Furious
to-
12. He's so ahead of the game.
Literally, he's driving ahead.
He'll do anything for his family. So, anyway, the officers chased the vehicle, which is a 1996 Buick, at incredibly high speeds. And finally, they got close enough to pull the car over. To do that, they had to deploy spiky strips on the road to slow the maniac down. What they found, Scott, I can't even believe what I'm about to say. They found a pit bull in the driver's seat with a man next to it moving the steering wheel. So from my knowledge, I believe the pit bull was taking care of the gas and the brakes, which are probably, if it was going over 100, it probably didn't know where the brakes were or what brakes are. And the man was just steering the wheel like a crazy game of bumper cars on crack cocaine.
So this sounds like a crazy, crazy Fast and Furious sequel. Vin Diesel and Pitbull, the musician, were together in a car filming for the next movie. I'm looking forward to it.
He's soundtracking the song. He's the movie.
Yeah. And he was like, let me drive, please. Please, Mr. Vin Diesel, let me drive.
I'll tell you what. You can take the gas. I get the wheel. I'm the star of the show.
Yeah.
We're family. So anyway, the middle-aged man, he was arrested on counts of driving under the influence of drugs for previous counts, I believe. And
the Pitbull was on drugs?
No, the Pitbull actually was non-aggressive whatsoever, just like my Pitbull. And the Pitbull received a fate that may be worse than driving itself to death. It was taken to a shelter. And if you're a Pitbull owner, you know that a lot of Pitbulls are in shelters, and unfortunately, on a serious note, a lot of them don't get homes. So I really hope the Pitbull is not aggressive, and it's somewhat a competent driver maybe, so I say adopt it. Vin Diesel, if you're listening, adopt this dog.
Yeah, Vin Diesel, add it to your family. Add the Pitbull to your family.
It's pretty cool.
Hop in, dog.
I'm going to call you Paul Walker.
Aw. Pitbull Walker.
So I got one more story for you.
Okay, go for it, Brent.
This story may be even more ludicrous than the story, or even more ludicrous than the rapper
first
Ludacris.
We got Pitbull. Yeah, first we got Pitbull the rapper, now we got Ludacris.
It's not about Ludacris. I just like saying the word ludicrous. Anyway, this is... I'm sure you heard about this on the news. I'm talking about a pastor here. And I'm not I'm not a very religious person, but I don't want to trample on anyone's beliefs in their faith. If you're a believer in Christ and the Bible and Jesus, power to you, seriously. But
I'm a believer.
but this, I think everyone can agree, went a little too far. So let me explain. We got a Reverend Rodney Howard Brown of a megachurch in Florida, and he held not one but 2 services in his giant megachurch. You know, when quarantine was a
That's
thing,
a big no-no.
with so many people congregated.
That's a big no-no.
A lot of, people who are very strong followers in the faith get taken advantage of because of this, pyramid scheme. So lawyers of the sheriff's office begged Brown not to go through with this congregation. They warned him. And instead of, listening and heeding the call, he had a service with lively music, seats stacked together like sardines, people touching each other on stage, giving each other noogies maybe, and even bus transportation for people to make it to the event. Just add fuel to the fire.
Why would the pastor risk getting people sick just to have communion? He could have had 100 people on site.
Because if you truly believe in your Lord Jesus, you'll pray the virus away.
Do you think that this pastor was Gabriel from The Walking Dead?
Even Gabriel from The Walking Dead knew when to cut the BS. This man has no chill. So the sheriff placed a warrant for Brown's arrest the next day for intentionally defying emergency orders. The 58-year-old turned himself in later that day. He was in jail for a total of a whopping 40 minutes until he was set free after his $500 bail was paid for.
That's almost as much as one session at WGBB.
At a radio station, yeah.
1 5-minute session at WGBB.
Scott the comedian.
Thank you, Brandon. I too have a couple of stories here. Just
Okay.
2. So, Brandon, I don't know if you've heard about this at all, but there's this big conspiracy going around on the internet right now. And the conspiracy goes a little something like this. 5G cell phone towers are the cause of the coronavirus. So that's the conspiracy.
Oh.
Well, not necessarily the cause of the coronavirus. Basically, what the conspiracy is people are saying that because of the 5G cell phone towers, people are getting radiation sickness. And then the government is saying that the radiation sickness is actually the coronavirus. Which is, there's so many, this conspiracy theory is obviously pretty stupid, and there are a lot of holes poked in it, and it isn't true. But that didn't stop a couple people in Alabama from doing something pretty drastic. So that's what my story is about here. So in Alabama, in Birmingham, and in a town called Melling, videos surfaced of some individuals setting 5G towers on fire and cutting them down because people just went and believed this conspiracy theory. Another reason that people think that this conspiracy theory is real is because at the end of 2019, Wuhan got its first 5G tower, the city in China. And right after that, like 2 months after that, the coronavirus happened. But just because those two things happen around the same time obviously doesn't mean they're linked in any way.
It's like saying that the Pitbull story of the Pitbull driving the car. Because of that one incident, now you must believe that dogs are taking over the world like Planet of the Apes.
Exactly. And there's no evidence that 5G radio towers cause any kind of radiation sickness. They've been all over the United States for over a year, and nobody's really gotten severely ill. I mean, maybe they cause long-term damage, but you can't really say that what's happening now isn't the coronavirus. Obviously, scientists have been, looking at the genome and trying to find a vaccine.
Right.
So this conspiracy, Brandon, is all over the internet. It's really nonsense, if you ask me. And I have one final quick
All
story.
right, quickie.
And there was a man. The story is a little bit more lighthearted. There's no burning of towers.
Oh man.
So, I know, maybe next time. So, this story takes place in Malibu, California. They have strict quarantine protocols in that city, and nobody is allowed really out of their homes unless, they have to go to a doctor or go to the grocery store or whatever. But there was a man who was alone on the beach in Malibu paddleboarding, and the Coast Guard came by in his lifeboat, in his boat, and arrested the man. And he is in, well, there's no court right now, but he was arrested, and he's in jail cell, and he has $1,000 fine as well. And I don't know how much his bail is, but he was arrested for breaking the quarantine rules. So, is that nonsense? He wasn't even near anybody at all. He was just alone on the beach, paddleboarding, not really interacting with anybody or coughing or showing signs of
He
sickness.
was gonna get Jaws sick.
Maybe he was gonna get eaten by a shark. He was gonna get. But those two are my stories, Brandon.
Well done, my friend. All right, and I just want to touch up on some other things. Scott and I, we're very big fans of music, and I know I had a bunch of concerts I was going to, and most musicians make most of their money off touring, and now they have to either cancel or delay shows. I was going to see an indie group called Tennis, a husband-wife duo, and they were very upset about all this, and they're delaying their show indefinitely. I was going to see Ringo Starr live, Mr. Peace and Love, Peace and Love.
I don't think he needs any money, Brandon.
He is delaying it a whole year, 2021. But for Ringo, get this. I got an email saying that the original date was in 2099. And they changed it to 2021. I'm like, wow, I know Ringo doesn't age that much, but is he going to make it to 2099? Will I make it to 2099?
Ringo personally that's how you know his age is showing. He did a typo. He personally emailed.
We're gonna make it to 2099. Peace and love.
Well, I was gonna say something too. It's very important. Also, obviously, these shows being canceled are, bad for the musicians because they're not going to be making the money. But I would say it's even more detrimental to the crew of the bands and the staff members and all the people who work at the venues. Those are the people who need the money a little bit more than musicians do. And I know some musicians are raising funds and doing, charity campaigns to help raise money for people who work in these places.
So Scott's muted right now, but I'm going to continue for a second. I, in a way, have been affected because my favorite band of all time is a group called Bloc Party. They're working on their new album. They haven't made a new album in over 4 years. And now that's delayed. The lead singer of the band, Kelly, he was going to promote his new album and tour. And he delayed it to work on the Bloc Party album. And because of the coronavirus, now he can't work on the album and he can't even tour, which is just really unfortunate. So I feel for everyone here. Just brief points of optimism to end off on them. For your movie fixes, Universal Pictures, they have video on demand, and they're releasing movies that either just came out or are going to come out. They have like The Invisible Man, the new Trolls film. So I know Trolls. It's not the best thing, but it's better than nothing, I guess. I know Disney Plus, they're releasing some stuff. Onward's coming. I think it just came out on Disney Plus. Yeah, and as far as musicians go, a lot of groups are having online concerts. Just one I want to give a quick shout out to. It's this duo, this country duo of sisters called First Aid Kit, and they had the most heartwarming YouTube video of them playing together in quarantine. So it's a time where we're all separated, but it's a time of togetherness in a way. And lastly, a big one for Nonsense News Nation, although they're not in the radio station, they're still here doing podcasts. So that's how we're going to end the show here.
Thank you so much for listening and watching. And we hope that this ends soon enough and we can all get back to living our lives. But until then, we're going to be making videos for you and podcasts, and we're going to be chugging along here.
That's all you can really do in life. That's the best advice we can give for everyone. So stay strong and be sure to find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, TuneIn. Oh, so many places. We have a website, nonsensenewsnation.com. That's nonsensenewsnation.com. And if you want to contact us, you can contact us at nonsensenewsradio@gmail.com. That's nonsensenewsradio@gmail.com. Once again, my name is Brandon Ellis.
I've been Scott Honig.
And this was Totally Nonsense on Nonsense News Nation. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Goodbye.